Hi everyone, today we are going to be doing a full review and wear test on the brand new Estee Lauder foundation, the Futurist Skin Tint Serum, and the brand new concealer in the same range, the Futurist Soft Touch Brightening Skin Sealer. I've been wearing these for the past 4 days running. I've done extensive wear tests, shorter wear tests. I know exactly how this wears on my skin and who I would recommend it to, if at all. So let's get straight on with it. If you're new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I upload new content on YouTube every single week. I would love it if at some point in this video you are finding it helpful. Please consider coming and joining the pack by clicking on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. So this is the Estee Lauder Futurist Skin Tint Serum. It's £49 in the UK and you get 30ml worth of product or 1 fluid ounce. You get 29 shades that come in this range. I am the shade 1N2, which is ecru and is a great colour match for me. This comes in a glass bottle with a dropper. Now the glass bottle itself is really luxurious looking, very beautiful to look at. The dropper, I have no idea why they have tortured us by giving this a dropper rather than a pump. A pump would have been fantastic. So the consistency of the formula is extremely fluid. This will run down the back of your hand if you place it on your hand before application. It's a really nice silky soft feel though, and it blends into the skin incredibly well. This is supposed to give light coverage and all day wear, but then there's a little disclaimer saying up to 8 hours. Well, 8 hours is not all day wear. This is sweat and humidity resistant and it's got an SPF 20 in here, which is practically worthless by the time you have this on your skin. But if you are sensitive to any of these filters, want to give a miss. I used around about 5 drops to do the entire face, so this bottle is going to last quite a considerable amount of time. I do like light to medium coverage. This gives a light coverage immediately and you can build it up in those areas that you need a little more. This does sink into the skin, and although it doesn't leave a tacky residue on the surface, it does look like it's left a tacky residue on the surface because the skin is quite shiny on application. I thought that shininess would subside as this sank in even further, but it actually didn't. So for me, because my preference is slightly more natural looking than super radiant, I need to powder this in place just to dim down the shine a bit. The really good thing about this formula is that it did not cling to any dryness. It didn't sit in any pores or any fine lines. So as far as the formula goes, if you have dry skin, I would definitely recommend this for you if you wanted a light coverage with a really radiant finish. This is a lovely formula. If you're wanting something that is majorly long wearing, however, stay tuned for the wear test because this is quite an interesting one, how this wore on my skin. Let's move on to the concealer. Now, if you were just looking at the formula of the concealer versus the foundation, these don't look like they marry together at all because the consistencies of both the formulas are completely different. So this is the Futurist Soft Touch Brightening Skin Sealer. It's £33 in the UK. You get 6ml worth of product and it comes in 30 shades. I've got 2 of those shades. The one on the left is 1C and the one on the right is 2C. The applicator is really quite unique. It says on the website this is shaped like a dainty fingertip. I'm not quite sure if they've seen my pig trotter fingers, but it definitely doesn't look like one of my fingertips. This is shaped to hug the contours of the under eye and it works incredibly well. This gives medium to full coverage, so it goes on immediately as medium coverage and you can build it up in those areas that you need a little more for full coverage. This gives a soft, radiant finish. The formula is a loose cream consistency. It feels smooth, it feels soft. All in all, this is a beautiful, hydrating and nourishing formula. It applies really beautifully, it blends out really well. I have no problems with it in that department whatsoever. However, this is definitely not crease resistant, so because of that, I do like to powder this in place, especially where I've built it up underneath the under eye to cover over any extreme darkness that I have underneath my eye. That is a slight issue for me. The more you apply, obviously obviously, the cakier and the more makeup-y this is going to get. That is not the same for all concealers underneath the eyes that are super, super lightweight. Although this is lightweight, if you do choose to build it up and then you apply a powder that doesn't necessarily agree with this, it does look a little bit cakey as the day goes on. At first, it looks perfection, but later on in the day, you may notice a little bit of cakiness, so just be warned. So I did mention earlier on that on the Estee Lauder website, it does say that the Futurist Skin Tint Serum is all day wear. I'm not quite sure when all day became 8 hours. However, I have done an extensive wear test and I did make sure that I checked in at the 8-hour mark. So let's have a look at that. So you can see that most of the skin tint is still on my skin. There is a patch on my chin and also pretty much the entirety of my nose apart from in between my brows that has completely rubbed off. This wears like a tinted moisturizer, which is why I don't think that the formula of the concealer really matches up with the skin tint, because they wear so differently. The entirety of the concealer is still intact underneath my eyes, and all the way around where I've blended it into the skin tint, you can see where the skin tint finishes and the concealer starts. That's how different they both are. They looked perfect when I first applied them, but not so much by the end of the day. You could definitely see a bit of a difference and it looked slightly odd. So of course it's a lot shinier. That's how every tinted moisturizer wears on me throughout the day, but this had been powdered in place. So I was a little bit shocked at how little time this lasted on my skin. If I was to wear this into an office and I was applying this at 6 o'clock in the morning, I would want it to last longer than it did. So I was slightly disappointed. However, this is going to be great for anybody who has seriously dry skin, who's popping out to run some errands, who's only going to be out a few hours and just wants to spruce themselves up a little bit, even out their skin tone really naturally, maybe use their fingertips for application, maybe doesn't want to apply any powder for longevity. They really love the radiant finish that this gives without powder. This is going to be great for that person. I'm not sure if you are wanting quite considerable wear out of this. This is going to float your boat because it just doesn't last long enough. It applies beautifully with a sponge, with your fingertips, or with a brush. It also applied beautifully over all of my favourite sunscreens, whether that be a mineral sunscreen or a chemical sunscreen. Both of them, there was no difference really in the wear of this skin tint. I do think that if you've already tried the Skin Tint Serum and you really didn't like it, if it just didn't have enough welly for you or it didn't have enough longevity, please don't be put off by trying the Futurist Soft Touch Brightening Skin Sealer, because I really quite like this. I've tried it with other foundations and it's worked much better with other foundations because those other foundations have been really long wearing foundations, so I haven't had that issue at the end of the day that the concealer is still in place but the foundation isn't. It stayed true and beautiful and worn really well all day. So it's a definite must for me that I need to powder this in place, but other than that, I really like it. So they are my thoughts on the brand new Estee Lauder Futurist Skin Tint Serum and the brand new Futurist Concealer. I don't think if you have super oily skin, the Futurist Skin Tint Serum is going to suit your skin type. And I know I don't have super oily skin, however I do have an oily T-zone, and that is the area that did not cope well with this formula. So if you are wondering whether this will suit your skin type, they are my thoughts. If you have oily skin, I don't think you're going to have a problem with the concealer, but with the skin tint, probably so. Anyway, If I haven't answered any of your questions, please put them in the comment section and I will be happy to answer those for you. There will be a video coming up very shortly with all of the Estee Lauder foundations, including this one within the video. I'll be going through what those foundations do, how long they last for, and who I think they're most suited for. So if you've always wanted to try an Estee Lauder foundation, but you're wondering which one would suit your skin best, definitely stay tuned for that video. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and hope to see you all in the next one. Bye everyone.